This is Real Estate Coach Craig Proctor. How's everyone doing today? We're going to be talking about a vital part of your success today, which is the listing presentation. You know, you can get a lot of things wrong in your business, but if you don't know how to make the right offer and you don't know how to get in front of people and convince them that you're the person for the job, you're going to struggle as a real estate agent. So let's talk about why I'm an authority on listing presentations. First of all, I was not an authority. When I started in real estate 20 odd years ago, like everybody else, I kind of had a wing it presentation. How many of you can relate to that? In the beginning, we have very little confidence. We really don't know what to say, and we're kind of making it up as we go along. And that's a problem, right? So over the years, I tested saying different things, basically, and some of the words that came out of my mouth were quite genius and were well received by the seller. And of course, other things that I said fell flat. So I says to myself, well, let's not say those things anymore. So it was just a matter over a number of years and really doing thousands. I've done over 10,000 listing presentations. At the end, I was getting like 80 to 90% of the sellers that I met with signed up. In the beginning, it was like more like 1 or 2 out of 10. So I've been on both sides of this. I've been a struggling agent when it comes to presentations, basically having the wing it presentation. I got to say this about the wing it presentation. It's really exciting because you never know what the hell you're going to say until you get there. The problem is it's not very effective. Let me know in the comments if you can relate to what I'm talking about here with the wing it presentation. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about today a presentation system. Is it possible? Is there a best practices that when you're in front of a buyer, you're in front of a seller, that there's structure to this, and if you say the same things in the same order, you would get the same great results. Now, this is important for you, of course, as a team leader, because when you go out on listing presentations, you want to be super effective. But eventually, if you have a team and you're going to grow a team, everything that you know about the listing presentation will be passed on as a system to your team members. So if it's not a system, it's not going to work, right? If the agents on your team are out there just doing and saying whatever they want, the results are going to be all over the place. And today the commissions are so high when we sell a house, we definitely don't want to rely on wing it. So, or you don't want to rely, on just your personality. You got to be likable, right? You got to relate to a wide assortment of people, because we've all followed up after listing appointments, right? And said, hey, I wanted to follow up and see if you made a decision about the house. And they say to you, well, we ended up listing with another agent. Why was that? We just felt more comfortable with the other agent. So one of the scientific things we're going to use is DISC personality. We're going to teach you how to determine, first of all, your own strengths, your own personality type, and then determine the personality type of the seller that you're presenting to. Because, of course, the mistake that we make is we assume that everybody wants to buy like we buy, right? Everyone wants to do it our way, and we know it's not true. So for me, earlier in my career, I always had trouble, like if they were like, an accountant or an engineer, a detailed person, those sellers were harder for me. And then if they were in sales, if they're any type of sales or management, I seem to do better with them. I didn't know why that was, but we're going to talk about the science of not only what you should be presenting, but how it should be presented. How many of you would agree that how you present the information, you've learned that it needs to be different based on the seller that you're presenting to? A lot of us do this naturally, right? As salespeople, we're chameleons, right? If they speak slower, you're going to speak a little slower. If they speak faster, you're going to. So we kind of, great salespeople kind of know this anyway. But just want to let you know, there's a science behind this with the DISC test. I dug in pretty deep. I believe I'm the first person in the real estate industry to bring DISC profiling in into real estate. And of course, I was using it for my own purposes, but training my team members on it as well. You can also use this information when you're dealing with your family. The first thing you should do is give your spouse the test. After you take the test, give your kids the test. It'll explain a lot of the interactions. So for those of you that joined me a little bit late, we are talking about the ultimate listing presentation. Okay, we're not talking about a mediocre presentation. We're talking about the ultimate listing presentation. Now, in the beginning, I sucked. Okay, of course I sucked because I didn't have a presentation. They told me, go in and talk about the company, talk about the Remax balloon, talk about all the agents that work here, bond with them, get them to like you. Well, that's what I did. What did I know, right? So the tendency is we look around at what everyone else is doing, we listen to what they tell us to do, and we go out and we're totally unprepared and we kind of wing it. So for me, I had to fail my way to success. I had no confidence, I had no idea what to say, so I just started experimenting with different language. As I said a few minutes ago, some of the things I said actually worked, right? They were well received. I'm like, okay, I'm going to use that. That's a keeper. I'm going to use that again. And then other things that came out of my mouth fell flat. So over the years, doing hundreds and thousands of transactions, I was determined just to keep tweaking this presentation, tweaking it, trying to figure out what are the right things to say and what's the right order. Even the order that I say the presentation in makes a big difference. Now, when I mastered this and I was able to sign up, honestly, like 8 or 9 out of every 10 sellers, so like 80 or 90% of the sellers I would meet with, I would sign them up to a listing presentation. I was able now to teach other agents how to do it. So first my team, and now you, right? Like, so when I became really successful as an agent, many of you know my story, in my 3rd year of having a real estate license, I was named the #1 Remax agent in the entire world for commissions earned. Right? So I didn't suck at this for too long, right? The first year was terrible. I picked it up. I discovered direct response marketing. You see, that's how you get really good at a listing presentation as well. Repetition. The benefit that I had is once I cracked the code on direct response marketing and I had appointment after appointment, like it wasn't uncommon for me to have 5 or 6 listing appointments in a day. That's how much I had figured out the lead generation for sellers. So I had lots of practice. If I messed up, my 11 a.m. listing presentation, that's okay. I've got another one in another hour. I had these listing presentations booked every hour on the hour, so I was efficient. I would come into the Remax office on a Monday morning, so I had all these listings over the weekend, and it wasn't uncommon for me to have 8 or 10 signed listing agreements in my briefcase. So we don't want to just get the listing either. We want to get the listing at the right price, right? At the right commission rate and for the right length of time. We don't want to be matching commissions, cutting commissions. This takes skill. Okay, this is why real estate agents come to me, and they've come to me for the last 25 years, is they want to know not only the science of lead generation, they want to know, how do I reach the leads? How do I follow up with the leads? Before I get into the weeds of what to say during the presentation, I want to make this point. You've got to be really good at qualifying the seller leads. So I'll teach you how to generate lots of leads, but you've got to be really good at qualifying the seller leads to determine who's worthy of you. Okay, that's a different mindset, right? Usually, well, am I worthy of the seller? Will I get the listing? No. Once you've got massive lead generation, we show you how to do this. Once you've got a steady stream of sellers, you now are going to heavily qualify the sellers so that you're only going to be meeting with sellers that are ready to act and sellers that you've got a pretty good chance of getting. That explains my 80% conversion. I'm not just going out to meet with anybody. I'm only going out to meet with sellers that I'm pretty sure that they're going to list, and I'm pretty sure they're going to list with me. It wasn't always that way. I remember earlier in my career, one of my first listings was an elderly couple, and I realized about 5 minutes into this, they weren't motivated. They didn't want to sell their house. They were just lonely. They were coming out with the tray with tea and cookies. So if you want to get rich in real estate, you've got to be very careful with how you spend your time. Okay, so here's what we got to figure out together, right? I want to teach you lead generation. No more cold calling, door knocking, sitting in open houses. No. You've got to understand what it is that buyers and sellers want. That's your offer. And then we're going to use smart modern marketing to deliver that message to sellers so sellers come to you. See how you're positioned differently right away? You're not chasing them. They're coming to you. Okay, now I teach you to qualify them. How are we going to qualify them? If you were to move, would you be staying in this area? Right? Do you own a house or are you currently, or you're renting? If you own, do you want to buy first or sell first? Do you have a realtor to help you when the time is right? I take you through the qualification. If they're going to be meeting with other real estate agents, I always want to be the last realtor they meet with. You might say, well, what if they list with one of the other agents before you show up? No, they don't do that because I teach you how to do this properly. Here's the language. I would say, if you were the seller, I'd say, are you going to be speaking with other realtors? And if you said yes, I would say, well, would it be okay if I was the last realtor that you met with? Why? So I can show you how much extra I do to get your home sold. And when are you going to be meeting with the other realtors? Now, I'm going to do a fair amount of preparation for our meeting on Thursday. And all I ask in return is for your commitment that you're not going to list your home with one of the other two agents before we have a chance to meet on Thursday. So it kind of locks them in. If I can't get their commitment that they're going to wait for me to be last in, guess what? I switch it around and now I'm first in. These are all the small things that I want to teach you that I learned over 25 years in this business. So how do we qualify? How do we get the leads? How do we qualify the leads? How do we find out if they're interviewing other agents? How do we position ourselves as last in? Even when I walk up to their door, I don't know where I got this from. It might not work for you, but when I knock on the door and they say, hi, I introduce myself. Hi, Craig Proctor, shake their hand. And I say, are you folks ready to get your home sold today? And sometimes they say yes. And I walk into the kitchen and they've got, their survey and their property tax bill out on the table. I know like this is going to be a pretty easy one, right? Quite often they say, I don't know, I'm not sure. We're just kind of thinking about it. So I know I've got to do my full presentation. What's going to happen next? Okay, we get in the door. Generally, they're going to lead us somewhere in the house to sit down and talk. Okay, this is very important. And again, you only get this information by being in the trenches for a long time. But I want you to think about this. How many of you have, walk into the house and they sit down in a living room or a dining room area where you're sitting 15 or 20 feet apart? That's no good, right? Because you're there, you're like an actor, right? And you're there to do your presentation. You can't be sitting 15 or 20 feet away from them. Nothing good is going to happen. So I'm going to politely ask them, would it be okay if we sat at a kitchen table or a dining room table? And they're usually agreeable. That's where we want to sit because I have a presentation. It's a PowerPoint presentation. It's on my laptop. Even where they sit is important. So we get to the kitchen table. How many of you can relate to this? Usually we're presenting to husband and wife, right? You sit down in the middle and the husband's over here and the wife is over here and you're trying to do a really good job, right? Dividing your attention between the husband and wife. No matter how good a job you think you're doing, always one of them, either husband or wife, thinks you're giving the other one more attention. I don't know, it's weird, right? So I just learned, let's sit them together. So when I'm looking at one of them, I'm looking at both of them. So husband and wife will either be to my left or right. I even discovered that I felt more comfortable having them to the right side of me. Now, you might be a left-handed presenter or a right-handed presenter. These are all little stupid details. Maybe they're stupid, maybe they're important, but these are the things that I was thinking of, like leading them to the table. Set the stage. I'm an actor. I have a presentation. I'm going to be saying the same thing in the same order over and over and over. The only thing that'll be customized is to their personality type. How am I going to identify their personality type? Okay, so now we're at the kitchen table. There's the husband and wife are sitting next to each other, either to my left side or right side. I'm the director. I've set the stage. Now we're going to go look around at the house. As we're looking around the house, they're asking me questions and I'm asking them questions. Here's a question I'm going to ask for sure. Hey, what do you guys do for a living? If the husband says he's in sales, I pretty much know his personality type. He's going to be an influencer, high I personality. If his wife says, I'm a nurse or a school teacher, probably ask her supportive personality. These are clues. So by the questions I ask of them, how they answer my questions, and by the questions they ask me. So if I walk into the house and they say right away, how low will you go with your commission? What do you think this house is worth? How long will it take to sell? I know I'm dealing with a high D personality. So we want to present the information based on how they want to receive it. So a high D or I, they don't want you to go into like an hour and a half detailed presentation. If you try to do that, you look over and their eyes are rolled back in their head and they're like, you're going to lose them, right? However, if you're dealing with an S or C personality, they want lots of details. The S and C sellers are the type of sellers where you're at their house for like an hour and a half, and at the end of it, they're like, yeah, we got to think about it. Now, before, I would say, well, what do you need to think about? I've been there for an hour and a half. Bad, that's wrong, right? What I learned to say is, hey, we've covered a lot of information here today. Why don't you think about it, and I'll follow up with you tomorrow, because that's what they want to do anyway. So I learned how to put the right things in order in this presentation and how to present it to the way the seller wanted it to be presented. And what would happen is I would get the listings. You see, there's 4 major personality types, and you're going to be one of the 4. Our assumption, again, is we think everyone wants to buy or sell the way we want to buy or sell. It's been proven that salespeople will tend to misfire 75% of the time because 75% of the people you're presenting to are not like you. So there's some science to this. Now, let's get back to the kitchen table now. I've got my laptop sparked up. We're ready to rock and roll. We've looked around the house. I know the personality type. The husband and wife are sitting next to each other, either to my left or right, and I'm going through the presentation. Now, I don't have time to go through the whole presentation here today, but I'm going to give you some of the ingredients. By the way, if you're liking this, give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up. Smash that blue thumbs up button, and make sure you like this page. And you turn on notifications, so when I go live and I share all this great stuff, you're going to automatically get it, okay? Also, let me know what marketplace you're in. Type in what marketplace you're in, because we're going to talk about how to get referrals. You got to learn to put yourself out there. If you hang around with me, you will get referrals. So let me know the major marketplace you're in, the major city. Type it into comments right now, and let me know also what you think of what we're talking about here today. Are you seeing value in this? Can you relate to the things that we're talking about? Are you saying, hey, I get this. This is what happened to me. I totally appreciate Craig has spent 25 years in the trenches giving us the details that we need to be super successful. So let's get to the listing presentation. Sitting at the kitchen table, start with my PowerPoint, click, click, click. Now, am I going to go through all of the slides? No, not if they're a D or I personality. I'm going to hit the high points. Okay, S or C personality, I know I got to slow it down. So for me, sometimes that's harder. That's why I had trouble, you see, with the S and C, because I'm coming in like a little fast, a little hot for them, and I got to learn to back it down. So if you're a D or I personality like me, just slow it down in the beginning until you determine the personality type of the seller you're meeting with. Now, if you determine they're like you, they're a D or I, you can just go back to your normal pace. If they're an S or C, you want to maintain a slower pace. Now, if you're an S or C realtor, you're already going to go in at a slow pace. So just go in at your slow pace like you normally do. If you determine they're an S or C, like you continue with that slow pace. If they're a D or I, you better speed it up or you're going to lose them. Okay, first thing we want to do, we sit down at the kitchen table, is we want to find out what's important to them. So many times earlier in my career, I'd be yap. I'd talk for an hour about what I thought was important to the seller. Let's say that I believe, I'm going to talk about open houses. What if they hate open houses? Right? So we always want to ask them what's important to them, especially if they're interviewing other realtors. Right? If you're interviewing other realtors, obviously you're not doing that because you think it's fun. The reason you're interviewing other realtors is because you don't want to make a mistake. So what's important to you when you're hiring a realtor? What are you going to be basing your decision on? If you ask them what's important to them, we call this a discovery, they'll tell you. They'll tell you how to sell them. Too many real estate agents are too busy yap. They don't listen. If you ask the right questions in discovery before you start talking, before you just decide, oh, this is what we should talk about. No, don't do that. Do the discovery, ask them what's important for them, and they will tell you how to sell them. Now, there is enough ammunition in this Craig Proctor listing presentation that no matter what's important to them, we've got good stuff. Sometimes I just have to bring a water gun, right? You don't bring a machine gun to a knife fight, right? Sometimes I might need a pistol. Sometimes I might need a rifle. Sometimes I have an atomic bomb. I have all these tools in my presentation. I'm going to use them based on where I need them. Okay, so as much as it's a presentation system, we're going to customize it for the individual based on their personality and based on what's important to them. Make sense? Let me know in the comments if you're loving this and if this makes sense. Okay, so now I have a feel for what's important to them. I'm going to go through my presentation. You're going to be winging your presentation until you have it systemized. Why is systemizing this important? Hey, when you fly in an airplane, the pilot has a flight plan. You don't want the pilot winging it. If you're having surgery, you don't want the surgeon winging it. Oh, you know what? We'll just figure it out when we cut him open and go in there. No. Professionals systemize what they do. I want to teach you this system. I want to show you why it works. There's going to be 3 unique selling proposition platforms that we're going to cover in this presentation. What's a USP, a unique selling proposition? These are things that set you apart from other real estate agents, okay? We have lots of competition. Everyone's a real estate agent. If you go in there and you talk about yourself, or you talk about the same thing that everyone talks about, if you say, well, I'm going to work hard, the other realtor's saying they're going to work hard. I'm honest. They're not going to say they're not honest, right? I'm experienced. I've been selling real estate for 10 years. What if the other agent's been selling real estate for 11 years? We've got to learn to make offers that sellers really appreciate, right? So there's 3 different USP platforms. You guys ready? Here's platform number 1, unique services. I want to teach you unique services that you can offer sellers that the other sellers don't offer. Okay, one of the unique services is going to be our buyers in waiting program. I'm going to teach you through direct response marketing how to build your database full of buyers. Now, when you get to the seller's house, you're going to be able to have a printout, let's see, like a printout here of all the buyers you're currently working with, how long you've been working with them, how many homes, how many pictures of homes you've sent to them, and so on. So if I got to your house, you're the seller, and I said, I understand you've interviewed a couple of other realtors. In preparation for our appointment tonight, I printed off a list of buyers in my database that I believe would be a good fit for your home. I have 37 buyers in my database that are looking for a home, a 4-bedroom home like yours in this neighborhood. Now, should you decide to list with me, the very first thing that I would do is I would email detailed information and pictures of your home out to the 37 buyers that are in my database that I'm currently working with. And I hand them the list, right? And they're looking at the list of the buyers, has my buyers' names. Very effective, right? What message am I sending? Craig's the agent that has the buyers. So I've got 30, should you decide to list your home with me, I already have 37 buyers, or it might be for you, 137 buyers in my database. They're looking for a home like you. It sounds kind of crazy. But it's almost like I've been looking for a buyer for your home before you and I even met today. The other 2 realtors that you met with, did they talk to you about how many buyers they're currently working with? Pause. And they say, the seller says, no. All the other realtors talked about is if we were to list with them, what they would start to do, what they would begin to do to try to find a buyer for our home. Craig's the agent with the buyers. The other agents are talking about, if you listed with their presentation, your competitor's listing presentation is about, well, if you were to list with me, I would start doing these things to try to find a buyer. No, I'm coming with the buyers. I want to teach you how to build your database up. This is unique service. It's your buyers and waiting service. It blows the sellers away. The number one thing the seller wants, they don't even want to list their house. Really, they just want to get it sold. The number one thing a seller wants is a buyer. And the number one thing the buyers want are houses. So don't lose focus, okay? We've got to focus on the number one thing that they want. So that's an example of a unique service. If they like open houses, we could do a tour of homes where I might open 6 homes in their neighborhood, but here's the difference. I would say, look, we're going to open 6 homes. They don't have to be your listings, by the way. I have borrowed listings from other agents. I just basically cherry pick the best listings in the neighborhood. Then I organize them in a schedule. I called it my Craig Proctor Sunday Tour of Homes. Each house was open for a specific 10-minute window. Why? Because I want to force all the buyers to each house at exactly the same time. And I'm asking the seller to be present while I'm bringing 15 or 20 people through their home. It blows the seller away. And if I don't get an offer on their house in a couple weeks, all I have to say to the seller is, unfortunately, all those buyers I brought through, unfortunately, they're not interested in your home at that price. It helps me get a price reduction. No longer can the seller say, well, your marketing doesn't work, or you haven't shown the property enough. But it does work. And imagine if you're one of those buyers. You walk into my Sunday Tour of Homes. The house is open for, say, 1 to 110. You walk in, you see all these other buyers there. If you really like the house and you saw 10 or 15 other buyers that also appeared to like the house, psychologically, what impact does that have on you? Right, so I'm able to get offers and multiple offers. This is called marketing, folks. This is what your clients, what your sellers are paying you to do, to market their home, to set it apart. So those are a couple of examples of unique services. Now, the next USP platform, unique selling proposition platform, are guarantees. Okay, what guarantees could you give to this seller that you could actually keep? So, I know a lot of your competitors overuse guarantee. This is how your competitors might use a guarantee. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I guarantee great service. Or what? It doesn't have any teeth. I guarantee your home will sell fast. I guarantee to sell it for top dollar. No. These performance guarantees have to have teeth. Every one of my performance guarantees is, here's the guarantee, or else. There has to be a what if, or else. So if you're in a real hot market right now, and homes are selling for 100% of asking price, then you could guarantee that. You could say, hey, if you, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, if you list your home at my recommended asking price, okay, that's the condition. If you list your home at my recommended asking price, I guarantee to sell your home for 100% of the asking price or more, or I'll deduct $1,000 off my commission. Well, guess what? That's never going to happen because you're making a promise you can keep. If you're in a bit of a slower market, you might want to say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, if you list your home at the price I recommend, I guarantee we'll have an offer on your home within 60 days or 90 days or whatever, or I'll deduct $1,000 off my commission. It's going to give you an opportunity to get your full commission. So these are examples of performance guarantees. That's another thing we teach you to do is, how can I make a guarantee that'll blow my clients away? It's a big promise that I can actually keep. That's the key. You want to be able to make a promise that you can keep, something that's going to set you apart from all the agents and make you a lot of money. Okay, the third type of unique selling proposition are statistical USPs. This is, now you're working with Craig Proctor, and because we've got the marketing figured out, remember earlier I said, what I want for all of you, the secret to success, is generating too many buyer and seller leads. People say, well, Proctor, why would I want too many buyer seller leads? So you have the luxury of choice. That's how I got rich in real estate. It's not that I got better, it's that the clients got better. I mean, I got better too, but a big part of this was the clients got better through better marketing. So if you're working with super motivated buyers and sellers, your statistics will be better. Imagine if you didn't have to work with people that are going to argue with you, fight with you, like a seller that, you give them the price. They're like, I'm not going to listen to you. I want to list it way higher, right? They don't listen to one thing. They lie to you. They fight you. First of all, it's exhausting. It's exhausting working with people that don't respect you and fight you. Let me know in the comments, are you tired of that? How would you like to wake up every day and if the clients are better, you're in a better mood? How did I feel when I had hardly any clients? I had to work with everybody. I had to work with the jerks. Let me know if you've ever had to work with a jerk. Not a lot of fun, right? I come home, I'm in a bad mood. I walk in the front door. Even my dog knew something was wrong because I was so ticked off, so frustrated because the clients I had were not very good clients. But that's what happens when you don't understand marketing. You've got to work with everybody. Now, imagine if this is true for you, if we can help set you up with a situation where you've got slightly too many buyers and sellers, like you couldn't even work with them all, then I can teach you heavy qualification, and the sellers that list with you will take your advice. We're going to position you as an authority, okay? Not as a common salesperson. Remember, we're getting them to chase you. You are going to be the most welcome guest. Every other agent, annoying pest. You're going to be positioned as welcome pest. People listen to experts, right? When your sellers are fighting with you, they're saying you're not an expert. People listen to experts. You go to a medical problem, you go to a specialist, you listen to what the specialist has to say. That's how we want to position you. So here's what happens. When sellers take your advice on asking price and through the negotiations, they get the right results. So my stats, for example, is over 90% of the listings that I took on would sell. They would sell in under 7 days, right? They would sell for 100% of the asking price or more. Now, when you compare those stats versus the real estate board average, here's what you're going to find. If you list with Craig Proctor, your home's going to sell for 2% more. It's going to sell in half the days on the market. And the other agents are maybe only selling 70% of the listings. Craig Proctor is selling 90% or 95% of his listings. You don't want to gamble. This is your house. So we're going to use the stats. Once you have these awesome clients, your numbers, your statistics will be better. We're going to use those statistics in your marketing to get even more clients. And we're going to use those statistics in your listing presentation and your buyer presentation. Imagine if the seller owns $1 million home and on average, you're able to get your sellers 3% more. That's an extra $30,000 that the seller is going to get by listing with you. Pretty compelling, right? Now, we don't have time to go through the whole presentation, but it's good. And I'm going to give you, what I've created here is I've created this report. I want to give it to you. It's called the 9 top reasons you lose a listing, the 9 top reasons you lose a listing. How many of you would like this? Okay, my partner, Daryl, he's in the comments, and you can PM him, you can message him, and he will get you this report, the 9 top reasons you lose listings. So we've detailed, there's a lot of reasons, but we've detailed the top 9. So you're going to find Daryl in the comments, okay? Just message him through Messenger, and he'll get this to you. We just released this. It's really good. And I also want to invite everybody to my private Facebook group as well. I've got a private Facebook group that's got a lot of awesome agents, follow the Craig Proctor system. If you would like to be part of my private Facebook group, you can just type in the word invitation, okay, into the comments. Just type in the word invitation. So again, Daryl is in the comments. If you want our special report on the top 9 reasons you lose a listing, you're going to contact Daryl Edwards. You'll see him. There he is, Daryl John Edwards, good-looking guy. He's even typed in, who thinks Craig is a genius? Well, I pay him to say that. So, but thank you very much, Daryl. I appreciate that. Okay, so back to the presentation. It's going to be roughly a half an hour to 45 minutes to go through this presentation, and you're basically going to be doing the same thing over and over and over again. And what you're going to find is you win. And when you start winning, you become more confident, and that feeds into it, right? There were many times that I would get halfway through my presentation. Has this ever happened to you? You get halfway through the presentation and you're so enthusiastic about what you're presenting that the seller would say to me, okay, Craig, we don't need to hear any more. We're convinced. Obviously, you really believe in what you do. This is so important. I want to give you good stuff to say, but real stuff. Okay, really great things that you actually believe in so you can speak with conviction. You know, they say the first sale that every salesperson must make is to themselves. If you don't really believe in what you're saying in your presentation, it's pretty transparent. You see some realtors at their presentation monotone. Well, we do this and this. Come on. We gotta suck it up a bit, right? If you can't even get excited about what you're presenting, how are you going to get other people excited? Now, after I go through all the benefits in the listing presentation, before I give them the price and before I quote my fee, the commission fee, and before we talk about the length of listing, the expiry date, here's the soft close. Okay, now this is important. So I go through all the benefits, blah, 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 before I get to my recommended price, the commission, or how long I want the listing for, which is 6 months. I'm going to say to the seller, based on what we've discussed so far, would you like me to handle this? Now, some of them say yes. Just try it out. Before you get to telling them the price or your commission rate, or you want a 90-day or 6-month listing, before you get to all that, once you're done all the benefits, just say, so based on what we've talked about so far, would you like me to handle this for you? Some of them will say yes. Now, then I go through my commission, right? It's going to be whatever percent. When you do this right, by the way, you're not cutting commission. You're actually charging more. I know a lot of you are skeptical about that. You've got to believe there's a lot of price elasticity. Many of you have been programmed to negotiate your fee down. The realtors that I work with, they're charging a higher fee than the industry norm, okay? Because you need to learn how to articulate your value. Price is only a factor in the absence of value, okay? Price or your fee is only a factor in the absence of value. We want to be so good with this listing presentation that a couple things happen. Number one, they choose to list their home with you, even though they've interviewed a bunch of other agents. Of all the agents they've spoken to and they've met with, you stand out. So they definitely want to list with you. And number two, they're willing to pay you more money, right? That's a big job. That's how good the listing presentation has to be. It has to be so good that they want to pick you versus everybody else, and they're even willing to pay you more money than the other realtors, and they take your advice on price, so you're getting a realistic price. So, based on what we've talked about so far, would you like me to handle this for you? Now, if they say no, then I have to revisit the benefits. Well, what was it? What was it that was most important to you? What did you like? There's no use going into fee. Okay, there's no use talking about price and fee if they're not convinced that they want to use me. Now, sometimes they'll say, when I say, based on what I've talked about so far, would you like me to handle this for you? It's very normal that they'll say, well, I don't know. You haven't even talked about your commission yet. I don't even know what you charge. You haven't even given me your recommended asking price yet. To which I'm going to say, well, assuming we can agree on the asking price and assuming we can agree on my fee, based on what we've discussed so far, would you like me to handle this for you? There, that takes that objection away. But if I can't get a yes on this, then why proceed? Like, it doesn't matter what I think the house is worth or what my fee is if they're not convinced that I'm the person for the job. So I'm using this as a bit of leverage. I want the buy-in. Now, this is important because when I get to the end of my presentation, after I've talked about all the benefits, after I've talked about my suggested asking price and what my fee is and how long I want the list, if the answer is no, well, at least I know they like the benefit portion of it, right? So now I got to work a little backwards, because if they said no at the end, I know it's got to be, well, they didn't like my suggested asking price, or they didn't like my fee, or they didn't like the expiry date. It's very important that we isolate an objection, because if we don't isolate an objection, if you don't know what the objection is, obviously you can't handle it. Now, I didn't used to do it this way. When I used to go through all the benefits, then I would say, and I think your house should be listed at this, and I think your commission, my commission rate is this, and I want a 6-month listing. And if they said no, I didn't know what they were saying no to. Did they not like the benefits that I provided? Were they saying no to that? Were they saying no to my recommended asking price? Were they saying no to the fee I was charging? Were they saying no to the 6-month listing? See, it's very difficult to handle the objection if you don't know what the objection is. So, is this all making sense? Let me know in the comments if this is making sense. Can you relate to this? This is the benefit of learning from someone like me that's actually been in the trenches for 25 years selling real estate. I did over 10,000 listing presentations. So I can really get into the weeds with you. I can get into the nitty-gritty details. A lot of these new trainers today have not been in the trenches selling real estate. Some of them have never had a real estate license. Certainly, most of them have not had my level of success. They haven't done 10,000 listing presentations. So it's very difficult to speak in details about something you're not an expert in. But hey, you know what? It's 2021. Do you want to know what the qualification is to be a real estate coach today? You just say that you're a real estate coach. That's it. Your news feed is full of them. You see them everywhere. Who you get advice from really, really matters. The complexity of real estate is rising. Whether I'm your guy or somebody else, find somebody that's had massive success. Find somebody that actually got very wealthy selling real estate. A lot of these guys get rich selling their coaching and selling their seminars, but they didn't actually get rich as a real estate agent. You want someone that's played the game before. Just like if you want to learn how to play golf, you want to learn from a great golfer. You don't want someone coaching you on how to play golf or tennis that's never played the game or they weren't that good. Somebody that read a book about golf. No, you want somebody that's an expert at it. They were very talented, they're very skilled, they were very experienced. And the other thing that's important is you need to have a coach that actually cares about you and is a really good communicator. Because some agents know a lot, but they're not very good at explaining what they know to other agents. So that's my dual track record. As you heard earlier, not only was I the number one RE/MAX agent in the world, and I kept that up for about 15 years, either number one or two in the entire world for RE/MAX for commissions earned, but I've got a very powerful dual track record because I've helped over 30,000 agents make more money, have more time, and have more freedom in their life because they have figured out how to have a real estate business that serves their life instead of being a slave to this thing. Real estate can be hard, folks. The first couple of years, I had a lot of doubt. There were times when I almost quit. You don't have to spend 20 years like me figuring this out. You want to climb to the top of Mount Everest? You're not going to do it by yourself. Get a guide. Whether I'm your guy or somebody else, find somebody to help you do the things that you want to do. Now, if you would like to set up a call with me, with me and my team, I want you to type in, if someone could type into the comments, proctorcall.com. If you go to proctorcall.com, my team and I will spend 45 minutes with you. We'll ask you a bunch of questions about your business, where you are right now, and we'll ask you questions about where you'd like to go. Now, obviously, you know where you are, and you probably have a pretty good idea as to where you want to go in your business. So the obvious question is, why aren't you doing it? Why are you doing the thing that you want to do? Because something's holding you back. Let me help you discover what those obstacles are. Maybe you know the obstacles, but maybe you don't know how to go around those obstacles. I'm really good at that. Talking to me is free of charge. There's no obligation. You've got a sense of who I am, and hopefully you feel I've got the track record and I've got the credibility and I can help you. So that's where it all starts. If you'd like to have a conversation with me. Now, at the end of the conversation, if you'd like to work with me closer, that would be great. But there's no obligation. If you talk to me, you talk to my team, doesn't feel like a good fit, then you just keep doing what you're doing. But at least we've spent some time helping you identify your obstacles and identifying how you can make a breakthrough. That's why I call it a breakthrough call. It's a breakthrough call. Sometimes, we're so close to our business, we can't see opportunities. It's very normal. Where I'm pretty good at asking you a bunch of questions and identifying opportunities that you might not see right now. How can we seize those opportunities? A lot of our success also is how we think. We're programmed to think a certain way about real estate. It's called our paradigm. And your paradigm starts like way before you get into real estate, right? It's how you were raised by your family, all your experiences through school, your first date, your first jobs, all the crap they've taught you in real estate school and all the stuff the other agents are doing. It influences how you think about things. So your paradigm, this paradigm controls what you do. right? And so what you think about controls what you do. And of course, what you do controls the results that you get. Let me help shed some light on opportunities for you. You might be thinking, well, I'd love to double or triple my business, but that would mean divorce because I'd be working all the time, or I'd have health problems. I'd never see my kids. No. Every time I've made more money as a real estate agent, I've worked less. So the more I've made, the less I've actually worked because I've discovered how to leverage myself. I want to teach you how to do this, how to leverage yourself with really good marketing. Stop buying leads. Stop wasting money buying leads from Zillow and Realtor. They're not even real leads. They're scrape leads. Lots of people look at houses. They're not thinking of selling. And when you call them, you're an unwanted call. Let me show you how to master lead generation, how to make it easy and inexpensive so you've got a steady stream of leads coming in. Let me show you how to reach the leads and convert the leads and do these presentations, and then we'll show you the best technology to use, and then eventually how to hire people on your team to do most of the work. So you're making a lot more money, you have a lot more time, a lot more freedom, and remember, that's why you got into real estate in the first place. So proctorcall.com, you'll find it there in the link. When you click on proctorcall.com, you'll go to my Acuity Day Timer, pick a day and a time that works best for you, okay? And don't forget to order this report. My man Daryl is in the comments there. All you have to do is message him through Messenger, and he'll get you this report on the 9 top reasons that you lose your listings. Okay, let's identify the reasons and let's help you so you can be a listing legend. It's not that difficult, folks. Everything you want to do in real estate has already been done by me and thousands of other agents that I've worked with. I'm real estate coach Craig Proctor. Remember to give us a big thumbs up here if you like this. Let me know your thoughts and comments. Don't forget to turn on notifications. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Take care. Hi, this is Craig Proctor. Hey, I really hope you enjoyed that video. And listen, I've got a lot more information for you to help you grow your real estate business. You see, several times a week, I record new videos and I load them onto this YouTube channel. What I'd like you to do, if you'd like to access them, are 2 important things, and both are totally free. Number 1 is I'd like you to subscribe to this channel. You're going to see a little subscribe button for you to click on. And if you don't already have an account with YouTube, it's free for you to set it up. It's really easy, it's free, but you've got to subscribe to this channel. And the most important thing is to ring the little bell right next to the subscribe button. And that's gonna let you know every time I load new money-making videos to help you grow your real estate business. So make sure you subscribe right now, you ring the little bell, and we'll see you on the next video.